Now another method of bypass is just to grab the lock with channel locks and just unscrew it, breaking off the set screw. Sometimes that's possible. Most of the time today there's going to be some type of protective spinning collar that is going to prevent that. Now if the lock has a protective collar over it like this, it's going to just spin if you grab that with a pair of channel locks. Sometimes it is possible to take a screw or a couple of screws and screw into this right to the edge of this collar, between the collar and the lock cylinder, and kind of freeze that collar to where you can get enough pressure with channel locks to turn the lock. The other option is to possibly cut the collar off of there, but depending on how well it's made, that's problematic. And the other possibility is to drill. So here you can see the set screw back here, and the other possibility is to drill the tip of the set screw off. You would come in dead center in the middle of the lock cylinder and then come to the left edge and then go back about 1/8 of an inch, and you would drill in about 1 inch or 1.25 inches and hit the tip of this set screw and drill it off. Then you could just unscrew the lock cylinder and take it out. So that's another method to bypass this lock. A1 Security makes these two other tools that are designed to grab the mortise cylinder and unscrew it from the lock. This is the Sparrow's bypass tool to try to go inside a door and pull on the push bar. And in order to use this tool, you have to have a little bit of space between the door and the jamb, or between two doors in the case that it may be a double door. But the tool just slides in, turn it, and then pull back against the push bar or the push handle and try to unlock the door. Not only can the tool activate the push bars, but it can also activate this type of push handle if there is enough space between the door and the jamb to insert the tool. I have not used this tool a lot, but since it only cost about $15, it is probably worth having on the truck. I want to talk about puller type tools for a few minutes. We do not have time to demonstrate all of the pullers, but I will show several of them and demonstrate some. First, pullers come in two categories, destructive and non-destructive. But know that even the pullers classified as non-destructive can cause damage to the lock. Puller tools can also be classified as to the type of locks they work on, like knobs, levers, or Euro profile locks, or they can be classified by the manufacturer of the lock like Kwikset or Schlage. HPC makes both a knob puller and a lever puller. A1 Security makes a Kwikset puller and a Schlage puller, and a number of companies make destructive type pullers for Euro profile locks. This is an HPC knob puller. Okay, so we have our bolt here at the back of the jig lined up with the wafer, the locking wafer that holds the knob on. And the thing is all set up there. And we turn the bolt on the front and it'll put pressure on the knob, pulling the knob forward. And then as you do that, you have a little bit of pressure on it, and then tighten the bolt on the locking wafer back here, and then just kind of alternate until it comes off. HPC also makes a lever puller. I have had more success with the lever puller than with the knob puller. A1 Security is a company that made a couple of nifty tools to pull the locks from both the Kwikset and the Schlage knob locks. The tools are just basic pullers which use a steel key to grab the cylinder and pull it from the lock. The pullers sell for around $80 each. One drawback was that the steel key and sometimes the pulling bolt would break, the company did sell replacements for these parts. So the way this tool works is you just push the key into the keyway. Then the main part of the puller just slides on over this rod. And then you just screw on the handle and tighten it down until the lock cylinder comes out of the handle. Once the lock is out, you can see it's not damaged. You can go ahead and service the lock, do whatever you need to do to it. Make sure the springs are spread apart like they're supposed to be. Then you just go ahead and you pop it right back in the lock, just like so. A1 makes another puller that will pull a Schlage knob with the F cylinders in them. A number of different tools have been designed to pull or break the Euro profile locks, which are becoming more and more popular in the United States. This puller is one design. It's a destructive type puller. It just yanks the plug out of the lock. Locksmiths are getting creative with its use, and they have used the tool to pull the plugs from many different types of locks, including padlocks, deadbolts, and knobs. This is a European profile lock. We will learn more about how to work with it in course 16. It is becoming more and more popular in the United States. The way this tool works is you take a pull screw, screw it into the center of the keyway. The manufacturer suggests using cutting and lubricating oil to help get the screws into the keyway. Once the screw is into the keyway, you simply hook the puller over the head of the screw, then turn the big nut on the back of the tool, and this carriage inside will move backwards, pulling on the screw, and it'll pull the plug out of the lock. So that's how it works. It is important to get the screw in as straight as possible. If the screw goes in crooked as you pull it out, it's likely to snap the screw off. So you want to get it as straight as you can. The companies that make the pullers also supply screws with the pullers. These are very durable screws. It is best to use those if you can. Now, if you run out of the manufacturer's screws, there's a couple of options that are available at the hardware store. And I've used both of these. These are the blue concrete screws that you can get from most hardware stores. And you can also pick up a stainless steel screw. On the concrete screws, I normally get the 1/4 inch. And if I go with the stainless steel screw, I like the number 12 or the 14. This is a number 14 by 2 inches. Now you can see that this carriage sits back in a little bit from the edge of the puller. And so we need to allow for that. The screw's got to come back into this slot back here. So when you put that in to your lock, you want to have about a 1/2 inch sticking out still so you can grab it with the puller. So again, this is a number 14 self-tapping stainless steel screw that we're going to use today. Now they sell plates that you can buy to go over the lock. Just fits over the plug. It's like this. And then the puller fits up against the plate. Now I make my own plates out of 1/8 inch steel with a 1/2 inch hole in it. Maybe just slightly bigger than a 1/2 inch. I normally use a 1/8 inch bit and start a small pilot hole right in the middle of the plug. The screw we're going to use is self-tapping, but I like to try to get it as close as I can to the center of the plug. Okay, I normally want the screw to go in about 1 inch or so. It could be 1 1/8. That'd be fine. I make a mark at 1 inch and kind of target that. When it gets that far in, then we stop. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the screw in. About right there. So once we have our screw in, we put our plate over the screw, over the face of the lock, bring the puller, go ahead and tighten the puller down some. So you want to make sure the hole in the plate is lined up right over the plug, and then fit the puller up against it. And once we're sure everything is lined up good, we just turn the nut on the back of the puller and begin to tighten that up. There you see the plug starting to come out. So here's the screw and the plug that came out. You can see here on the back, a little piece of it broke off. See this groove? That's where the snap ring goes that holds the plug in there. And it's kind of a weak point. The little piece on this side snapped off. There you can see the inside of the lock. Just reach in there with a good pair of tweezers and get that. See if you can get that little center piece out of there. Here's your little can piece that fits into the back of the plug. And like I say, we're going to cover these locks more in course number 16. Right now I'm just trying to demonstrate how to pull the plug out and open the lock. So get that out of the way, and if there's any little pieces like that broke off from the back of the plug that are in the way, get those out of the way. Then you can take a flat screwdriver and get in there and get that cam and turn that cam and unlock the door. And most of the time you just go to your truck, get yourself a new Euro lock cylinder and put it in the lock and you're ready to go. There is also a tool available that will simply snap the Euro type locks and break them in two, which is faster than pulling. I showed this earlier, but again, here's this weak spot in this lock. It's real thin here, and it has a hole drilled in the middle of it. So there's very little metal holding this lock together here in the middle. And the breaker tool just breaks this, and then one part of the lock will come out. A number of companies make these snapper bars, which are technically not pullers. The lock can also be broken with an adjustable wrench. There are some problems with the pullers. They do not work 100% of the time. They can cause unexpected damage to the lock, and the tool's parts can break. If you want to learn more about these types of tools, you could do an internet search for Euro plug pullers, lock plug pullers, bell-style lock pullers, lock snapper bars, or similar terms. Please take just a moment to like the video and also subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.